Hey everybody, it's Fungal. We are back for reviewing the week 7 of the LDL Draft League. I know it's been a while since my last upload. I just had a lot to do. Everything's been real tough, but now I'm hoping that I'll have a bit more time. I can get us back up to speed. And I should have a few more videos coming out by Monday, I believe, of next week. Then hopefully I'll be almost up to date by then, or just fully up to date, have everything uploaded. Either way, these are battles from I think 2 weeks ago that I'm going over now. Either way, I'm gonna start off here with Pick versus Ufio. Pick did bring the Electrode, which is gonna look really good into Ufio off the start because of course Ufio has no ground type. Of course, they just have a very strong team in general. I'm just a big fan of these Chimpao Weavile. No, that Chimpao is Weavile. The Chimpao plus Landorus, and of course that Mega Scizor. But definitely don't discount Ufio and that Dark Bear right there. Weezing has no real recovery, even though it can resist most of the moves from that Urshifu form. But oh no, this is Water type, isn't it? Yeah, this is Water Urshifu if I remember correctly. Again, close combat looking very good versus the team. So this out, we see Electro lead very smart into this Urshifu. Urshifu is going to be forced out. Even if it's Scarf, I doubt it could KO Electrode one hit. Electrode able to pivot out. We see that it is static, so Ufio needs to be careful with touching it. Go for close combat there on the Porygon. Only does 53 though. It goes for discharge, and we do not see an immediate para, so Ufio will have to switch out here. Does a U-turn come out, or a knockoff, or just another close combat? Which is safe. Normally Scizor would be able to beat down Overqwil, but of course it's at minus 50% of its defense. So probably we're going to see an Aloe switch here. If Pick is feeling it, they might even go to Landorus. Landorus gets off very free Earth powers versus this team. Aloe switches in, which is really safe. If he goes for Crunch, we see Helmet. Spikes or Tox Spikes like couldn't come out. Yep, flip turn. But now basically anything can come in here and get a kill. Chimpao comes in. Probably just going to go for a really strong Crunch or Sacred Sword, yeah, there. But only does 39 to this. This Registay really defensive. It does have a Rocky Helmet. I would have just liked to see Landorus come instead of Chimpao. Like, Life Orb Landorus is just one of the strongest wall breakers in the game. And Porygon 2, the only Mons Ufio has that could really take that on, was already chipped down to the point where it probably will just die to one Earth Power. I think if Landorus just came in raw, it would have gotten a free kill there. But it does come in on the Thunder Wave, so we'll get off this Earth Power here most likely. Overqwil gets sacked. Power claims one. Then Urshifu is going to have to come back in. But Aloe is going to be able to switch in. Does have that helmet. This Urshifu pads or something. Doesn't. It's just going to take a big chunk of his HP right here. Already one mon down and Urshifu's half health. This is looking really bad for Ufio. And Aloe just gets a really free flip turn out here. And Scizor comes instead of Landorus. I get it because we don't know Raikou could be Specs, and Specs Scald might be able to do significant damage to Landorus. It might even OHKO depending on how invested you are in the Spadef. But again, you could go into Landorus, not take the Spikes damage, and then pivot out to Aloe right there. Because unless Ufio makes like a crazy predict and goes for Thunderbolt expecting that, you can scout damage. You can see what they're planning on doing there if they are just Specs or not. When they do go for that Scald. But Scizor comes in. Does it get burned here? It does as it goes for Roost, so it's able to heal up, but now this Scizor is basically crippled. Won't be able to do much damage to Ufio's team at all. Now on this thing, if Ufio manages to position correctly, Porygon 2 can actually heal up on it. Electros are just in really safely, and Raikou able to knock out with Leaf Storm. It's back out to Landorus on the Registeel. Pig knows that Registeel can't really touch it. As this Porygon 2 switches in, gets destroyed by that Earth Power. Urshifu comes back in, but not really much they could do while that Aloe's still on the field. You go for Thunder Punch here, but that's going to do basically nothing to the Aloe. Switch out again to Registeel as just another flip is going to come out. Ufio's just trapped in the cycle here. This Spike is definitely would have ended up helping in the late game versus Electrode versus Weezing versus Scizor. try to keep the regen aloe at bay, but at this point there's really nothing you could do with no way to actually force progress versus big teams. You get worn down by the big wall breakers. And their Shifu is finally going to go down to the aloe. We see a 6-0 here from Pick. Very good prep from them. I think Ufio, definitely one of your mistakes. You need to keep Porygon 2 healthy somehow. This thing is just... I can't understate how big of a defensive beast this thing is if you're able to keep its Eviolite intact, if you can keep it healthy. This thing can deal with Landards, can deal with Chien-Pao, can deal with whatever it wants depending on its investment. So being able to keep that alive means that you can deal with any of these things you choose to and try to get progress that way. But next up we have Grunkle versus Silver. Look at this team. I'm going to try to guess the Silvally type here. If I had to say, not really Fairy, you don't need that here. Possibly Fire to avoid burns from Moltres and try to set up on that thing. Even though that would lead you weak to Iron Bundle and Iron Treads. So I'm also thinking it could be something like... maybe I could deal with that easily, like Water. Anyway, I'll start it off here. We see the Coco lead, switches hard out into Moltres. Alicia comes out, trying to get a little bit of chip. Light is going to come out, likely a... Let's go for Flamethrower here. They are seeded. I would expect a U-turn. Maybe they don't have that. Rosaletta is just going to get healed back to full. It goes for the Mystical Fire there. As this Moltres does just go for a Whirlwind. Now this is a Mega Latias from Silver, so I'm confused as to why they, like, didn't Mega and just went for Mystical Fire there, which leads me to think that it might be choiced instead of Mega this round. Because I don't see any real reason if you are Mega to just, like, not Mega go for Mystical Fire there. Like, yeah, Treads can switch in on, like, Psychic or whatever. But Treads does not beat a Mega Latias 1v1 unless it's choice banned. And even if it is, it's not gonna ever OHKO you in one hit. And I think, like, there's really no need to make that predict there unless you were choiced of some sort. We'll see. Maybe they just want to do something because Moltres, again, can't really do much to Mega Latias either. They want to see what Grunkle will do there. And this comes right back in. Iron Treads finally switches in. Quirk Speed, Balloon, not choice banded. Yeah, this thing goes for Steel Roller, moves the terrain, but again, that was like a, I think like 120, 130 base power move and stab. Destroying the terrain, can't use it again. And it did nothing to Latias. Latias can just heal that all off this turn. Iron Treads took 75% of his HP. Again, I was thinking it would be choice based on that predict, but I'm guessing Silver just wanted to make that predict. Next picks switch in on the Audino. Gets a T-Spike in exchange for its Black Sludge. Gets up 2. But again, Grunkle doesn't have their Poison type. They're really weak to these T-Spikes right now. Because this Coco, this Leaves, this Bundle, this Audino for sure, they're all going to be on the timer next time they switch in. And Treads is going to have a hard time spinning. Can only do so once because of Ferrothorn and its Iron Barbs. And this Silvally could even be Silvally Ghost. I didn't really consider that, but here definitely it would be really nice to be able to spin block those T-Spikes. Ferrothorn switch in here on another knock, because its leftovers. Audino can have a fire move, so I'd watch out for that here, but they just go for Witch here as Body Press comes out. Likely now you have to Body Press again because you do not want that Iron Treads to get up to full, or you can do something to keep Iron Treads from healing up. Because keeping these T-Spikes is going to be instrumental, because you know, like, Moltres can't beat your team at all. Moltres stonewalled by Latias. And just keeping these T-Spikes up is mandatory. It doesn't just hard switches out. If that Iron Treads came in right there, that was going to be really annoying for all the progress Silver just made there. Silver does get tired of this Audino, starts spamming Gunk Shot to hopefully maybe get a poison. We see one here. We don't. 30%. Go for Treads. I want to see a double here. I really hope to. But just go into Ferrothorn though. Moltres comes back in. But if Chris comes out, is there a flame body burn? There is. Ferrothorn's now on a timer, but very slow one at that. This is gonna switch in as Moltres heals up. Again, yeah, this Mistball, there's nothing Grunkle can really do about that. Brave basically does nothing. Now, forced to switch into Coco. Coco's gonna take this Mistball. We'll only do it once, really. And unless it suspects, this also can't kill Latias, so Silver can take the kill here. Again, you have a Ferrothorn, it's burned. I don't think there's a need to sacrifice Latias' HP. Probably just a hard Ferrothorn here. Yep, Thunder Wave comes out from Coco, try to cripple Latias for later. It's not going to work as Ferrothorn just goes for Gyro Ball here. This Coco does have Roost, but the T-Spike's just going to prevent it from being able to roost off those Gyro Balls. We see it unfortunately misses from Silver, but shouldn't be the end of the world because again, Latias just comes back in for free. And like you see why I'm on like this is just extremely strong. Latias able to completely just wall like all of Grunkle's team except these two, which are just going to fall to their other teammates like this Ferrothorn, like this Toxapex. And having like such a bulky but still really strong Pokemon like this Latias, super versatile, you can do anything with it. Like this Trez, which would normally be a huge threat to this team with its coverage, not going to be a threat at all because even though this Latias does have moves that is weak to some of Trez's moves, it's just going to get destroyed by this. And that this Moltres has been poisoned too, it's basically over. Because once this goes down, you're forcing all of these mons that are weak to Toxapex to come out. Iron Treads can only spin one time still, but Toxapex can very easily get up those T-Spikes again on either Iron Bundle or Audino. Probably easily take a Thunderbolt from Coco too, depending on its investment. Iron Treads does switch in finally here, but it takes that liquidation from Pex, and now the T-Spikes are up for good. Basically every mon here that doesn't have boots is on the timer. And if this Iron Bundle, if this Iron Leaves do have boots, then of course they're not as big threats as if they had Booster Energy or Life Orb or something like that. Moltres is finally down. Iron Leaves, Cork Drive Speed. Lando switches in as Megahorn comes out. Megahorn's a pretty good mid-ground to hit Latias and with one hit, but of course Landorus will still pretty easily deal with this thing. Leaf Blade crit won't kill this. This might, if this doesn't have a U-turn, then that's Grunkle's only play, but it does. I understand it from Grunkle's point of view to just go for this Sword Stance here. I think I probably made the same play hoping it doesn't have U-turn, but realistically, this Landorus was made to deal with this Iron Leaves because this whole team is kind of weak to Iron Leaves. So it should have U-turn all the time to be able to deal with this. And even if this Iron Leaves had something like Sub, it would for Sub on the U-turn and forced something like Latias out. I don't even think Latias will die to crit Megahorn if I'm going to be honest, at 95. But this Weavile does reveal to be likely Scarf, or this is kind of a slower, bulkier Coco. Iron Bolt switches in. It is booster speed, but at this point, Sub won't help you. This Tox is going to be wearing you down. I don't know if Ice Beam can knock this out. This Ferrothorn is just really Spadef. Able to eat that Ice Beam. It goes down. Silver not bothering to preserve the 6-0. At this point, Svali's Electric comes in. Interesting. It Moltres super effectively, I assume, with the Electric Terrain rather than trying to wall it and be immune. It leaves you very Treads weak, but yeah, so that's one thing. Like these bulky teams are always weak too. These strong ground types with this coverage, like Treads, like Landorus, like Great Tusk. All those are always a big threat to these sort of bulky teams. But Savali will end up cleaning up. He'll take the last two, and then Silver will take this game. Next up, we have Naga versus Morpher. And I'm gonna be honest, there's a lot of pressure on this Mega Altaria in this game. It has to deal with this Chiyu, it has to deal with this Turkofish, it has to deal with this Dragonite. There's a lot of things riding on this Mega Altaria to try to wall, especially since Naga does have their webs here, and Orver's team's kind of hazards weak in general. They can't really... They do have two decent defoggers, I suppose, but a lot of their team can't really hold boots or doesn't appreciate holding boots here. And again, this Golden Go, again, looking like a big issue here, able to 1v1 all of these mods in specific scenarios, but not all of them at once, luckily, so scouting at sight will be pretty important. Do you see the immediate Masquerain lead into the Empoleon? Whirlwind out because they're scared of the competitive boost as rocks go up. Soon it comes in on webs. Harper Voice not knock it down to Sash, just go for Toxic here. Their Harper Voice will get rid of it. And we trade Toxic and webs in exchange for rocks and a dead Mon. I think a decent trade from both sides depending on what you're actually brought to the scenario. Again, there's the question of what you bring out on Blood Moon. Chiyu, if it doesn't have boots, is going to take this rock chip, so that's going to be an issue. Again, this Altaria isn't mega. Dark Pulse will be extremely free if it's choice specs. Blood Moon will not take that at all. Dragovich instead switches in. But the problem with this is you have this tough 50-50 where Willspring can switch in on your Fishious Rend and absorb it. But if you do go for Outrage or something, that will knock out anything else. Not a single one of these monsters except Altaria will die to. Back to that Outrage, Ogerpon switches in, absorbs the Fishious Rend. This Dragovich forces to switch out. As Golden Go gets hit by the Trailblaze, Ogerpon is now back to its original speed. Like his shield as Focus Blast comes out. Focus Blast does not KO this. Ivory Cudgel does a chunk. Shadow Ball crits does 70%. It will die to the next Shadow Ball now. Ivory Cudgel does not crit, but Focus Blast misses. Another Ivory Cudgel up to knock out Golden Go. I kind of get the Focus Blast play to hit Ursaluna and Empoleon. Especially since if you're Morpher, you might want to keep this Ogerpon Polar Absorb around to deal with this Fishious Rend, but again, it's like what I said with the Latias. I don't feel like you need to make a predict here because either those switch in, you can Focus Blast after. Ursaluna has very bad special defense. There's the Toxic wearing it down. I'd like to say it could very easily die from there. And Empoleon can't really do any significant damage to you. I suppose within competitive it might, but Dragonite comes in as Play Rough misses. Dragonite just goes for D-Dance here. Go for Dual Wing Beat as the miss from that comes out. Play Rough does connect. Dual Wing Beats does knock that out. I wonder if they had a move, a 100% accurate move. It just stuck with like Dual Wing Bait, Roost, things like that. Beat only does about half to this Blood Moon, as that will probably not get back out. But now, luckily, click Fishious Rend one more time here. Get a guaranteed kill before Altaria comes in. Maybe if Naga can weaken Altaria, Chiyu can definitely has a chance of sweeping this whole team for sure. Dragovich able to knock this out with Fishious Rend. So Altaria come out. Zapdos does come out. Goes for Thunderbolt here. Another Fishious Rend does not KO, and we get the static. Now I think it's over because Altaria, unless Altaria gets flinched a bunch by Chiyu, I don't think this could happen. This Altaria needed to be forced and needed to be chipped for Naga to win from this position. But Thunderbolt able to knock out Dragovich. Gastro comes in. Ape switches in. It gets the Defiant boost. Skull comes out. Do not see a burn. Tonk comes out. This is another Skull. I think that's a big Greedies. This could be Covert Cloak though. If it is, that's perfectly fine then to make that play. Because does this not have Rage Fist? I don't think you need to predict Chiyu here. If it comes in near +2 Annihilate with the 100 base power Rage Fist, I think that thing's dying. Even if it's not, it'll be at 1 HP for later. Sack Zapdos. Gaster finally comes out, finally goes down, and Chiyu comes out. But Fire Blast comes out, and I think that's it. I think Empoleon takes a Fire Blast, I think, and you can't flinch things down like you can with Dark Pulse. So like this is unwinnable for Naga from this position. Taria Megas. It gets crit, takes 64, but no burn, so Earthquake will be able to knock this Chiyu out. Again, almost got scary at the end with that Chiyu. Definitely, like I said, if Naga did end up getting chip on this Altera, maybe some chip on that Empoleon earlier, it would have been really good. I think priority should have been getting rid of this Ogerpon, so that you could spam this Fishious Rend late in the game, and just try to weaken all the Chiyu checks, because these two mods actually work really well together. In terms of the water type checks they force, we're able to weaken them down so one more can sweep late game. But battle number 3. Yeah, Vessel versus Lulu, and this Regieleki did come, but the Skolurk did come, so maybe Regieleki will finally, its reign of terror will be put to an end. Again, Mega Metagross looking like a huge issue as usual, but with this Skolurk, with this Blaze, it might not be that big of an issue, especially with possible Intimidate on Hitmontop. Blaze lead into Metagross. Scissors out into Gouging Fire. I expect Shadow Ball to come out here. Substitute comes out. That's fair enough. Goes for Calm Mind here. Don't know the set on this Gouging Fire. I think I would rather have seen just a raw Shadow Ball. If this breaks your sub here with EQ, then it's probably just going to break, just OHKO you later. And this Shadow Ball from +1 will not OHKO. I would have rather just seen a Shadow Ball and then a switch out. Because you just go for another sub, but that's not going to do anything. You can't kill this Gouging Fire. And only does 47, you get the split F drop, but I think just going for one, then switching out after would have been a much better decision, because you still have that Blaze around for later. So like Caboose unfortunately misses, but this is AV Primarina from how little that thing took. A Tick Pack shoots out to Lele here, so turn comes out from Primarina. Psychic Terrain is up, Metagross switches in. Garb's killed Heavy Slam. No switch into that, with Blaze gone especially. The top switches in Intimidate, but the side terrain boosts the Psychic Fangs enough to knock this thing out anyway. Golurk finally switches in, the only thing that can really threaten that out. Poltergeist comes out, knocks out Primarina. Does reveal to be Life Orb Golurk. Shiva able to knock that out, and I think with that, Mega Metagross already just won. Shiva goes for U-turn here. Gouging Fire. Astrocroom comes out from Hatterene. Is able to go for Expanding Force, take down 1. This will definitely be able to take out a few here. If Metagross was like chipped at all, if you got anything on this, and if you got maybe took out one more Mon, then this Hatterene definitely could have swept. This thing will not die to the Mystical Fire here. It takes 84 from this Life Orb Hatterene. This thing's really strong. If you got 16% chip on this from anything, then Metagross would have been taken down. Last up, we do have Trixie versus Albert. And look at the matchup. Trixie actually has some good outs into this stupid Mega Alakazam. Their Meowscarada, their Victini, and their Delphox respectively. But this Thundurus and this Nidoking do look like big issues for Trixie's team. Oh, should I need to mute this tab? My bad for that one. We see immediate U-turn from the Scarf Thundurus into Meowscarada. So Meowscarada goes for Nasty Plot. Protean, so it is pure dark. It's for Dark Pulse. Not able to knock out this Donphan. Is this like Max Investment on Donphan? Possibly. But then he goes for Encore there. So you could just now trap into it. Superior switches in. Oh, Earthquake only takes 24 from that one. Thunder's going to switch back in. Onglare is going to be immune. Goes for Sludge Bomb here. And that is 2 mods knocked out already in exchange for Donphan half of its health. Delphox unfortunately gets poisoned by the first Sludge Bomb, as it gets this Toxic Orb trick to it now, this is no longer Scarf, not as big as an issue. I think that trick coming out a lot earlier would have been a lot more beneficial, but we do see this Nidoking actually just get demolished by a crit Flamethrower here. Indeed, barely able to live that Flamethrower. It cures Thunderous, interestingly enough. But now this Indeedee gets knocked out by the Keldeo. Does reveal Life Orb, so Alakazam is able to prevent it pretty easily by throwing off just any psychic move. Spinning Force able to get rid of that. But Kinizu isn't here. It could probably live anything Alakazam has going for it. Goes for a U-turn here. Chooses the Suicune. Thunderous does not knock out Suicune in this hit, but Suicune goes for sub. It cannot knock out Thunderous. So it's going to be all down to Victini, but I don't think Victini can survive both the hits from Alakazam and Cinderace here. So Zen Headbutt, do we see a flinch? No, we don't, but Victini does survive, but this is going to put it in range of basically anything else Albert had. And we needed something stronger for this in order to actually win the game. But again, like, Choice Bands would not have worked. Because Lucky in the Zen Headbutt versus Alakazam is a death sentence, as this thing will carry Shadow Ball. But those were all of the 5 games for Week 7. I'll bring you guys back